In LA this week,
I'm Anna Marcos. A $50,000 reward has now been increased to $60,000 for information that helps police solve the murder of a man who was killed right here on the steps of this West LA apartment. That's coming up.
The city of Los Angeles becomes the second city in America to establish an advisory council specifically for the transgender community. I'm Gil Reyes with a story next.
I wish it could be every day.
It's door-to-door service and VIP treatment for some elementary students. I'm Rasha Goel, and that story's up next.
hello and welcome to LA This Week. Thanks for joining us. I'm Yana Kay. Well, the Brussels terror attacks that left at least 30 people dead and more than 200 injured prompted swift response from LA city leaders condemning the bombings and reassuring Angelenos.
We also are very focused on our neighborhood.
Mayor Eric Garcetti gathered with LAPD Police Chief Charlie Beck and LAFD Chief Ralph Terrazas to say there are no credible terrorist threats against Los Angeles, but said police are making a show of force to send a message that the city is prepared to respond.
Of course, make sure that we have a show of force in key infrastructure. We have many of our units that are out there, whether it be bomb technicians, whether it be our K-9 units, at the airport, to make sure that we have visibility and people know that this is a city that somebody should think twice before attacking.
Garcetti and Chief Beck also added that the public plays an important role in keeping our city safe. They urged Angelenos to report any suspicious activity right away. And authorities are also asking for your help in a local murder investigation. 7 months after a West LA man was shot in cold blood outside his home, police have few clues to go on. City leaders are offering a $60,000 reward. Anna Marcos has more.
30-year-old James Jackson had just got home from work when he got a call on his cell. He came out on the stairwell to take the call. That's when his family and neighbors say he got shot.
He was sitting just like this, and he had the phone in his hand like that. And the first shot shot the phone out of his hand. And the bullet went through his hand.
We were in the bed, and we just heard gunshot, boom, boom, boom. My wife jumped up and said, "Oh, my baby." And I was like, "Why did you say that?" And we ran down, and it was him.
Pow, 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 like a war.
And he ran, and he flung this door open, which is blood is still on that door.
According to the neighbor Cerise, who saw it all, Quincy, her son's dog, got shot when he tried to go out and save James, but he is recovering. Jackson wasn't so lucky. He lay dying in the arms of Cerise, the neighbor he called Granny. His blood spatters are still evident on the walls. When the ambulance arrived 40 minutes later, he was too far gone to save.
And I said, "You're not going to die." And the last time I said that, he said, "Yes, I am." Just like that, he said, "Yes, I am." And he was dying.
But it was so long a span, he was just bleeding. So I think he just bled to death.
Jackson died 7 months ago on August 26, 2015. Police, with few clues to go on, have now put out a $50,000 reward for information that helps solve the murder. And Councilmember Paul Koretz has added $10,000 to that reward.
Sometimes it's just a relative who when the money gets to be enough, says, "Well, my nephew did this, but I'm going to collect the $60,000.
Police also have a lead on the getaway car that night, a 2000 to 2005 white compact car.
It's pretty distinct. It has a spoiler kit in the back that is probably raised about 2 feet high. It also has side markers on the side which aren't standard, which are custom lights. And it has it's a 2-door sunroof.
Meanwhile, family and friends are grateful for the help, but they feel it's too little, too late. It's not clear whether this was a gang-involved shooting.
He never was in a gang, He always was right here, He was always with family, If he was a gangbanger, he was a home gangbanger. He didn't have no guns,
The family hopes someone turns in the killers to get justice for James, but some scars will take a lot longer than others to heal. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
Again, that getaway car is a 2000 to 2005 white compact two-door with a spoiler feature in the back and markings on the sides. Anyone with information can call Detective Fernando Rivas at 213-382-9470 or LAPD Crime Tips at 800-222-TIPS. Well, Jewish civil rights leaders recognize peace officers who've gone above and beyond the call of duty. Gil Reyes reports from the Skirball Center.
The Anti-Defamation League hosts its annual luncheon recognizing excellence in local law enforcement. Among the recipients of this year's Sherwood Prize is the Community Safety Partnership Program, an innovative approach to policing.
If it wasn't for that, I would be another statistic, getting pregnant at 16, dead. I don't know.
It is the philosophy that Chief Beck wants for the entire department, and that is relationship-based, cultural-based policing.
LAPD Commander Philip Tingarides and his wife Imada, a police sergeant, are a biracial LAPD couple. Together, they've led a multiracial, all-inclusive brand of community policing, one that's built trust between cops and the low-income housing communities they serve. As this 2014 HBO documentary shows, officers supervise youth football and Girl Scout programs, forging bonds not only with the kids, but also their families. The formula has helped reduce crime in LA. Sergeant Tingarides says the old way of policing, arresting your way out of the problem, wasn't working.
When you can say I'm sorry for your organization, and then the community accept that and forgive, you can then begin to move forward and make change, and we've done that in Watts.
The way they took me under their wing was under genuine mentorship. They cared for me and they showed me love. So
Stephanie Amaya is now enrolled in college, pursuing a career in nursing. At the Anti-Defamation League ceremony, Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Other honorees included first responders and investigators in the San Bernardino terrorist attack. Well, a new program is helping Angelenos and LAPD officers learn some new lessons. Rasha Goel has more on how cops are hitting the streets to help local elementary students.
It's door-to-door service for these young students at 93rd Street Elementary School. Thanks to a new program called Walk a Cop to School, students and parents have the opportunity to walk directly from their home to school with LAPD cops.
Them having the trust of when we go to someone's house and take their kid to school and walk them to school, it's like something that they've never seen before, and they were very excited about that.
I wish it could be every day. You know, the kids feel very, I'll say, safe and happy having the cops or the policemen walking them up to the school.
For now, it's a one-day thing where several students are selected from the school to participate in this program.
Working with partnership with the schools is very important. They identify the children who walk to school. They let us know who those kids are. We then reach out to the parents and make sure the parents are okay with us doing that.
The program is twofold. It helps strengthen the relationship between the community and the LAPD, and it also helps educate and inform parents and children about traffic safety.
Always look left and right, even though you can cross the street, but make sure that, because when people are turning, make sure that you look left and right.
Is that something you knew already, or did you learn that today?
I learned it today.
What we've learned is when we walk the children to school, the most concerning or now enlightening piece of it to us is a lot of the parents weren't familiar with the traffic safety laws.
For many of them, the program provides the comfort of feeling safe. And even for those getting dropped off to school, valet service was available.
So many crime around here that it's just crazy. Cars don't stop, kids almost get run over. I mean, this is like a really good program right now that they're having, because normally we never had that much law enforcement around here.
LAPD officials say several schools have already reached out to them regarding the program, and they look forward to bringing Walk a Cop to School to other local schools in the area. In Los Angeles, I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
Walk a Cop to School is a new program and has been implemented in 2 schools so far. While a section of the LGBT community has been largely silent in city policy until now, Gil Reyes reports on a newly created advisory panel aimed at giving transgenders a bigger voice.
For the trans chorus of Los Angeles, it's enough to get up and sing. LA's only all-transgender choir and others in this unique community are about to reach a high note in city government.
And to hear our voices from the community and for the voices of the ones that are voiceless.
The city of LA tries to even the playing field by creating a Transgender Advisory Council, the biggest city in America to do this. Transgenders are people whose gender identities do not match their assigned sex at birth. Some people say they're the most ostracized group in the LGBT community, and it's finally time to right some wrongs.
There has not been transgender equality when it comes to economic opportunity, when it comes to the ability to just even rent an apartment, when it comes to jobs.
Second, though, is to look at ways that either directly through the executive branch or through the legislative branch we can make changes that help us be the most trans-friendly city in the world.
LA's sister city to the west, West Hollywood, was actually the first municipal government to set up an advisory council specifically for the transgender community. LA's advisory council is expected to make policy recommendations regarding housing, also hate crime prevention. Improvements in job training, immigration, and health services are also expected with direction from the new 9-member panel. Recently, the city has taken steps to improve equality and safety for trans community members, like separate quarters for transgenders at LAPD lockups. That's because transgenders are oftentimes targeted for physical and sexual abuse behind bars.
I look forward to all of the reports that are going to be coming to my committee that I chair, and we will elevate the profile of this advisory council.
The government of Los Angeles and the city of Los Angeles. You're part of our family. We welcome you, we embrace you, and we love you.
In downtown LA, Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Mayor Garcetti says the trans community has been asking for such a council since he took office. Well, the Los Angeles Times organized a discussion with LA Mayor Garcetti about transportation projects down the line and how Metro plans to fund them. Gil Reyes reports from LA's Central Library.
This Q&A, moderated by LA Times writer Pat Morrison, allowed the audience to tell the mayor what they think of LA Metro. One man said it's hard finding parking at the North Hollywood Red Line station.
We were there at 6:30 in the morning. You have to park miles away. This is insane, and it discourages people from taking the Red Line.
That's part of the reason why Mayor Eric Garcetti is pushing for a half-cent sales tax increase on the November ballot. If approved, it's expected to fund $120 billion in transportation improvements. That may include additional parking spaces at Metro train stops.
It's not just about building lines, and all the money doesn't go into lines, new ones. It goes into existing ones, it goes into roads, it goes into sustainability, it goes into other options of transit, it goes into accessibility too for a lot of people who, if you have accessibility issues, this is still a pretty miserable place to get around as well, and we want to strengthen that. So absolutely, I want you to find that parking place, because I don't want you to give up and say, well, screw it, I'm going to just drive in.
In response to the high demand for parking, Metro will begin charging for parking spaces at 9 of its stops, including North Hollywood's Red Line station. The cost between $2 to $3 daily. This fee begins in May. It's part of a pilot program to test the feasibility of paid parking at all of Metro's 50-plus parking lots. Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Paid parking will also be available at the new Expo line to Santa Monica when it opens on May 20th. Well, a new nonstop service is cutting travel time to and from Scandinavia, and travelers couldn't be happier. Scandinavian resident Mags Janssen has reason to smile. As a frequent visitor to Los Angeles for both business and pleasure, he says this new route will cut his travel time by almost 8 hours, and that means more visits to LA.
That's great, you know. That's if you shorten down the flight, I'll probably go more times a year, probably.
Expanded travel and trade to and from Los Angeles. That's what city and airline officials are hoping for as they gathered recently to mark Scandinavian Airlines' inaugural flight from Los Angeles to Stockholm, Sweden.
We have synergies with innovation, with tech, with entertainment. So tied to LA's diverse market and infrastructure, we're very confident that this is going to be a very successful destination for the Scandinavians.
Officials say nearly 400,000 Americans of Swedish descent live in California, and business ties are thriving. Sweden is the 11th largest investor in the U.S., and here in California, Swedish companies have created 40,000 jobs.
Today's ribbon-cutting event and the inauguration of the SAS Los Angeles-Stockholm flight showcase that these strong ties are there and there to stay.
SAS Airlines operated a direct route to Copenhagen more than 2 decades ago, providing the only direct link between Europe and California at that time. The service was grounded in 1994, but now a new era has taken flight, and officials hope it will open a new window into everything Scandinavian countries have to offer.
We are indeed known for our nature, our culture, I think also for innovation, and most recently it's also been highly ranked by many magazines as a very nice place to live and actually be. So I hope that all of you will enjoy it once you get a chance.
But in the meantime, it's the Scandinavian travelers who are benefiting the most, as they can now connect directly through LA.
It's perfect. Much shorter flight. We are so happy.
An energetic thumbs up for not only travelers, but the crew as well. The total flight time from LA to Stockholm is around 11 hours. Well, one engineer boldly goes where few women have gone before, a career in space exploration. As Gil Reyes reports, she and LA's First Lady are encouraging other females to do the same.
Okay, let's see how we do.
The demonstration Rover passes the durability test with ease, rolling through an uneven surface without toppling over. But the journey wasn't as smooth for Jet Propulsion Laboratory flight engineer Mallory Lefland. She remembers her teenage years.
But at the time, I was really confused about what I wanted to do. All I knew was that I really liked math and science. I thought, okay, maybe I'll be a math teacher, or maybe I'll be a chemist. And then I would argue with my parents a lot, so I thought, oh, maybe I'd be a really good lawyer.
But Lefland pursued her passion, studied really hard in courses made up mostly of boys, and landed a job at NASA's JPL. Her proudest achievement so far, working on the Mars Rover Curiosity project. On this Women's Heritage Month, Lefland and First Lady of Los Angeles, Amy Wakeland, encouraged female students to pursue careers in science and technology.
We need you. Women are only 13% of engineers and just 25% of people working in computer science and math. And in this city, we can't let that stand. So do what you love, focus on what you love, don't be deterred, and reach for your dreams and live important lives.
And the reaction?
If you work hard enough, you'll get it. So I'm thinking of going into NASA now.
It'll give me a chance to stand out of all the guys and show them I could actually do this.
The LA City Library offers hands-on science programs for young people.
And again, this is your library, and all of you are always welcome here, and our services are free.
To help LA's female students reach for the stars. At the LA Central Library in downtown, Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
The LA City Library offers more than 500 free STEM programs for young people. STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and math. Well, it's a party with a purpose. Now in its 5th year in LA, this ball is becoming one of the city's signature fundraising galas and premier social events, while helping turn dreams into reality. Rasha Goel has more.
Masks and mystery. The United Negro College Fund's inaugural Mayor's Masked Ball was recently held at the JW Marriott in downtown LA, a fundraising event to help young African American and minority students achieve their dreams.
The United Negro College Fund funded my entire college experience for 4 years. And I can't tell you how it felt to have an extended family of donors that I didn't know that thought highly enough of me.
The United Negro College Fund awards 12,000 scholarships a year. About 120,000 students apply, and those with the best academic record and greatest need are the ones rewarded.
UNCF gives them that bridge between college and their dreams. Many times that bridge doesn't exist because people say, well, maybe I don't have enough money, my parents can't pay, I'm too working class, and they settle for just working after high school. But UNCF, this is about raising money to provide more of those bridges to be built throughout the city to great campuses around the country.
UNCF is the nation's largest minority education organization and provides operating funds for 37 member historically black colleges and universities.
So this year, in our fiscal year, which will end March 31st, we're projected to have raised $135 million all across this country to support our work, to provide scholarships for deserving students to attend the college of their choice, and to support historically black colleges.
Mysterious fun for a great cause. I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
In its 70-year history, UNCF has raised more than $4.5 billion to help 400,000 students attend and graduate from college. Well, city leaders take steps to make it safer for passengers using ride-hailing and other transportation services. It may soon be up to you to decide to put the downtown LA streetcar back on track, and the Boyle Heights community gets together to promote safe streets in their neighborhood. All these stories in City Beat. Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti and council members Paul Krikorian and Herb Wesson have asked the California Public Utilities Commission to allow the city of Los Angeles to implement a pilot program that would require fingerprinting for drivers of limos, vans, shuttles, and ride-hailing services including Uber and Lyft, similar to what is now required for taxi drivers, who for decades have worked under a franchise agreement with the city requiring live scan fingerprints to cross-check potential drivers with the state's Department of Justice database and others. Officials say this provides an essential safeguard for riders by preventing people with significant or violent criminal histories from driving passengers in the city of Los Angeles. Metro has earmarked $200 million to complete funding of the historic downtown LA streetcar. The project could be funded through a new half-cent sales tax on the November ballot. The potential measure would ask voters to increase the countywide sales tax by 1/2 cent for 40 years and to continue an existing tax, Measure R, for an extra 18 years to run through 2057. Officials say the measure would fund hundreds of transportation projects and focus on easing congestion and improving transportation options for the entire region. In response to recent hit-and-runs, Eastside community residents, along with transportation and youth organizations, recently came out for a street event in Boyle Heights to raise awareness for the need of safety and public space improvements along Cesar Chavez Avenue. The event is the culmination of months of community workshops and seeks to gather input from community members on ways the city can make permanent improvements to create a safer, more culturally vibrant street. Some residents say the efforts so far have made a difference.
Infrastructure that's being put in is really important as me, as a person who bikes and walks here. It's making the streets safer for us. I don't feel as in danger when I'm walking down the street that much anymore.
Renting a Zipcar just got easier with more places to drop off once you've checked out. Gil Reyes explains.
Yes, Yana, those innovations you mentioned are exclusive to Los Angeles, by the way, and come as Zipcar. The ride-sharing service has cars available at 10 metro stops to hopefully strike a balance between driving and public transportation.
Hold the card over the card reader and wait to hear that beep. Don't swipe it. Hold it. Wait for it. That's the one.
Zipcar, the ride-sharing service that requires zip cards to access vehicles, unveils new features solely for the LA market. These rental cars that offer parking spaces too are available anytime through the Zipcar mobile app.
It really is about utilizing as many options as possible for people to get around.
Perhaps the biggest innovation is the ability to rent for one-way trips. That means you can check out Zipcars at one location and drop them off at another. More than 175 locations to choose from in the LA area. Company spokespersons say ride-sharing using one Zipcar takes 15 personally owned cars off the road.
Right now, the average Angelino spends 70 hours a year stuck in traffic. we have to make better choices. That 70 hours a year could go back to our families, to our education, to our jobs, and just to our quality of life.
LA Metro has started offering Zipcars at 10 of its stations, including the North Hollywood and Universal City Red Line stops. The goal is to improve transit options during the first and last miles of a rider's commute. These trips between home and the train station oftentimes require a car because they're too far to walk. Metro was also negotiating with another rideshare company, Lyft, to determine the highest activity of rideshare trips near transit stops, to possibly build infrastructure there to meet the demand.
Anytime we're armed with more information and we can provide better opportunities for the residents of LA, the better.
Because there's more than one way to get around town. In downtown LA, Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
500 Zipcars are now available for rent in the LA area. While reliving some classic movies during the 5th annual Wayne Federman Film Fest, if horror is your thing, The Shining is just the ticket, and the Waddles Mansion goes Hollywood. All this in this week's Things to Do.
Take lunch at a charming pub.
We want the finest wines available to humanity. We want them here, and we want them now.
Wayne Federman, the actor and writer known for bit parts in movies from Legally Blonde to 40-Year-Old Virgin and a recurring role on Curb Your Enthusiasm, presents his 5th annual International Wayne Federman Film Fest, which brings big names in stand-up to Cinefamily to pick and introduce movies that have personally influenced them. This year's presenters include Keegan-Michael Key presenting With Nail and I, The Burbs hosted by John Mulaney, Arthur presented by Rob Corddry, and many more.
Don't threaten me with a dead fish.
The fest begins March 31st and runs through April 3rd. The Cinefamily Theater is located at 611 North Fairfax Avenue. For more, visit cinefamily.org.
Here's Johnny.
The Great Movie Horror Night series is in full swing at the old abandoned zoo at Griffith Park. If scary movies are your thing, check out The Shining Under the Stars on April 1st. Gates open at 6 and the movie begins at 7:15. The Griffith Park Old Zoo is located at 4730 Crystal Springs Drive. For details, visit greathorrorcampout.com. For the first time, the City of Los Angeles will allow a designer showcase to be presented in one of the historic homes owned by the city, the Waddles Mansion, a 1908 Mission revival. This historic estate, which includes 47 acres of prime property in the heart of Hollywood, will be brought back to life as top local Los Angeles-based designers create 18 memorable rooms inspired by Hollywood icons of the past 100 years. Until April 17th, the City of Los Angeles has opened the doors of this historic home to the public for a first-of-its-kind event in which acclaimed interior designers will use past movies or Hollywood stars, including Midnight in Paris, The Artist, Audrey Hepburn, and Clark Gable as inspiration for the rooms they will design. Visit waddlesshowcase.com. And that's a look at some things to do. Well, that's going to do it for this edition. I'm Yana Kane from all of us here at LA This Week. Thanks for joining us. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacityview.org. You can also follow and like us on Facebook. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.